Burgess here with Music Marketing TV. Today we're going to be checking out how to accomplish a scratching effect using the M Rhythmizer. So this is what it sounds like.
There is only one piece now.
And this one has a little bit more of a repeating pattern.
There is only one piece now.
Yeah, so on this one we're taking advantage of just some nice shapes. These are all done with single curve. You can do some cool stuff with double curve, and then this one's sort of like, you know, oh buddy, who the heck knows what happened over here. So let's go ahead, let's set something like this up. So again, I am using the M Rhythmizer in order to accomplish this. We'll go ahead, bypass this, we'll add a new one. So we'll go M, and then Rhythmizer is right over here. And okay, some cool things to be aware of. First off, just with the plugin in general. First, this line over here messes with a buffer that the plugin is receiving. And if we actually just make a straight line, we wind up just pitching down the sample.
There is only one real.
Let's just look at the sample here.
There is only one real.
Yeah, so we could actually like add another point. Whoops, my bad. And create some sort of a bevel here. And play it.
There is only one real.
And you can do some weird stuff by speeding up and slowing down in time. And if you actually go to presets, there's one on here called scratching and glitching. And if you click that, it is a bunch of interesting shapes that do that sort of a thing.
There is one real piece now. There is only one real piece.
That kind of stuff. But we want to be able to do this customizably, because sometimes, you know, you want a tighter thing or a slower thing. So let's go ahead and let's dive right into that. So you'll notice up here we have this scratch control. And let me move this over to where more of the sample's happening.
There is only one real.
So that's what the scratch does.
There is only one real piece.
The problem is large values are just not going to be that useful to us. We only want smaller values. You can actually do this in most DAWs by limiting the automation. In FL Studio in particular, it's actually pretty easy to do. But there's an even better option that you can just bake right in, and that is creating a scratch multi-parameter. So if you come down here, all of Melda Audio's plugins has this multi-parameter option. You can go ahead, click it, and you want to click this little drop down and go to learn. And this is just going to make it so that you link whatever knobs you want to here. If you get multi-parameters, can do just some crazy stuff between everything. I believe we have a few videos on them on the channel. But what we're going to do is we're going to click learn. We're going to move the thing we want it to know about, and we're going to, you know, just click it. That stops it. Open it up. And in here, all the parameters you would have clicked will appear here. And we see here we have a value and a max down here. This is for the scratch control that we just moved. So the value is just the value we're going to set it at. And that's for this multi-parameter, what the value is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and set that at 0. And the maximum, well, this one, you really want to be somewhere in the range of 0.8, 0.7-ish. You could go all the way up to -1 or maybe even a little bit past. It's just going to be determined by your material. I'm going to set a max of whatever my mouse says. We'll go to -0.74. We'll give it a name. We'll call it scratch. And you see it actually updates over here. So now we've baked it in, and when we move this control, you see it moves the scratch and it limits it to where it can be moved. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to automate this. However your DAW automates stuff, just go ahead and do that. And we have here an automation clip, and we can now begin to add some scratching. Now, when we do this, I like to work at a higher grid resolution. So I have mine set to half steps, which equates to 30-second notes. But, you know, yours will be whatever you set yours to. And let's just go ahead and create some large moves so you can hear what's going on.
One real piece now.
And boom, we have scratching. Honestly, any scratching with a drum loop tends to sound pretty dope, as long as it's not like totally ballistic.
One real piece now.
Now we might say, okay, well, let's try and tighten this up some. So all we're doing again is we're just automating this control right here.
One real piece now.
And while we're here, I should mention the speed control here is how fast this moves through this buffer. And as a result, it has an impact on the pitch area. So if you have it go really fast, it's going to sound more like a vibrato than a scratch effect.
There's only one real piece now.
And if you go really slow,
There is
It's
only one real piece.
super, super fast. I find 1 to be the sweet spot, but sometimes 2 or 1/2 sounds pretty good. We're going to leave it on 1. That's pretty much it for the plugin. The rest is just creating some interesting effects here. So there are a couple things that I found just as interesting side effects. One of them is when you bottom out, right? The further you go, the more pitch bend you're going to get.
One real piece.
And so if we go ahead and flatten out here, we reach a point where things sort of stabilize.
One real piece.
Let's go ahead and flatten out for a bit longer here.
There is only one real piece now.
And so you get that sort of an effect. If you want a lot of like back and forth fast movement, you could try faster moves.
There is only one real.
And if you find that you like a particular shape, like that one's pretty cool, you could cut it out and copy it a few times. And for this, it might make sense to have it be every 2 blocks because that would be a 16th note.
There is only one real piece.
And when you make a change, you can change them all. So like maybe that was too extreme. We want to dial it back some.
There is only one real piece now.
And then over here, right, we can have some that sort of bends up slowly.
There is only one real piece now.
Or maybe right at the very end, we have another dip. We could try more of a triangle shape maybe and have it hit right at now.
There is only one piece now.
And maybe, oh, that might be too extreme.
There is only one real piece now.
And away you go. So just to show you some of the shapes I had before, we'll go ahead, we'll bypass this one and turn on the first one. And I don't even remember what I set the range on this one to. Minus 1.09. So I went a little bit further with this one. And the speed is at ×2. So I actually changed the speed. So just be aware of that. If you want the exact same settings as this particular top one. And just to show you, I'll mute these bottom ones so that you don't think we're listening to those. So here's the shapes. I experimented a lot with these sort of plateau-like shapes, and the result is pretty interesting.
There is only one piece now.
I was going for like more of a back and forth record kind of a vibe with this one. And those, when you do that kind of a motion, there's like a slowing down and a stop, and then usually a quick motion after, right? To get that back and forth. Sometimes it's a continuous thing. So I was trying to think of like, how would this look like automation wise?
It's only one piece now.
And I think that's pretty cool. Now, and this took me a while because there's some of this stuff is just pretty fidgety, like getting it a result that you really like. And that was when I started messing around with those speed values inside of mRhythmizer itself. And then over here, I decided to go down the route of what if I had a repeating thing, and I messed with that instead. And it makes it a bit easier to get at least this over here is kind of a nice back and forth effect.
There's only one real piece now.
Like this right here especially.
Real piece now.
That's pretty dope. Like that's pretty cool. This is pretty much what I wanted for this section. And this is something that and it's really easy to just clone, right? You just copy it and you can make more complicated rhythms that way. But that is scratching with mRhythmizer. Pretty fun way to do things. It's an effect that I think sounds really, really cool, but not a whole lot of ways to do it. Not a lot of plugins offer ways to mess with it like this. So pretty cool thing. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.
There is only one piece now. There is only one real piece now.